Hello, I'm back talking about all the horror films coming out over the next 3 months. Films about demons from hell, eating ground up dead people, creepy pastas, and Bruce Campbell. Well, Bruce Campbell adjacent films. Without further ado, let's talk about films that are coming up over the next few months. I'm a big Evil Dead fan. I love the first three films with Bruce Campbell. The next few films, though, I have a hard time recollecting. I can't really remember watching them, and yet I'm excited for Evil Dead Burn, which comes out in July. After the death of her husband, a woman goes back to her in law's place where the Book of Dead decides people need to die, which isn't much of a plot, really. Yet it's enough of a plot for an Evil Dead movie. I'm going to love this film. I can tell you without knowing anything about the film, I'm going to love this film. Earlier this year, in a film called Trash, Jiman Hansu battled sharks. Sort of. He battled one shark towards the end of the film. Anyway, he's battling more sharks in a film called Shiver that comes out sometime this month. The story isn't very different from Thrash. Sharks attack, residents must protect themselves, complications ensue. I sort of like Thrash in the sense that I watched it without hating the fact that I was wasting nearly 2 hours of my life watching the thing. And I don't even remember what happened in that film. I think that's pretty much what will happen to me when I watch Shiver. Neon Demon came out in 2016 and the film was somewhat odd. I didn't like the film. I didn't like it at all. It could be because I didn't understand the film. I don't know. Her Private Hell is made by the same people who made Neon Demon, which is why I don't think I'm going to like Her Private Hell either. I don't really understand what the story is from what I've read online, which is probably for the best. But I'm going to attempt to tell you about what I know. A woman goes looking for her lost father when a mist encloses the city and weird entities start hunting her down. At the same time, an American GI goes hunting for his daughter who's lost in hell. I don't know if the GI and this woman are actually father and daughter, but whatever, that's the story. I don't think I'll break my head thinking about this film. I'll just go watch the film when it comes out and either like it or dislike it. In Saccharine, a woman starts taking pills to lose weight, pills that are made from the ashes of a dead person. After taking these pills, the dead man whose bones she's consumed begins to haunt this woman. It's a straightforward premise, and the trailer doesn't look very interesting. The premise, however, is very interesting, and I want to go watch the film right now. The Devil's Mouth is a film about a group of people stuck underwater. As their oxygen runs out, sharks begin to stalk them. The film stars Catherine Newton, who's been in Supernatural, Freaky, Abigail, Ready or Not 2, and I like her quite a bit. But the film, it doesn't really interest me. I've never liked sea creatures as bad guys. Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, Meg, films like that make me want to throw my head at the wall. I don't think Devil's Mouth will interest me, but I'm going to watch the film because why not? Carla Gugino stars in Lockbox. That's it. That's all the reason I need to watch a film. Carla Gugino. But Lockbox also has a terrific trailer. Carla Gugino and her cousin retreat to a rural town where their neighbor turns into a horrific undead monster of sorts. Some sort of otherworldly entity wants Carla Gugino's cousin, and now she and her cousin must figure out how to fight this monster. The trailer looks pretty tame, but I've got a feeling the film won't be. In The Ice Cream Man, releasing a month from now, an ice cream seller sells some kids some ice cream. Ice cream that turns these kids into mindless killers. Written and directed by Eli Roth, the trailer for this film looks very entertaining. The only problem is it's directed by Eli Roth. Eli Roth has a habit of filming disgusting things with blood and gore. Remember Hostel? Yeah, I couldn't watch that film because of all the torture scenes. I'm certain Ice Cream Man isn't going to be a walk in the park for me either. I'll watch this film, sure, I'll watch this film, but I'll probably end up looking away for a lot of the scenes. The End of Oak Street stars Anne Hathaway and Evan McGregor, which should make this an interesting film, but the film is about dinosaurs attacking people, and I don't think I want to watch the film, much less talk about it. I'm going to watch the film, of course I'm going to watch the film. It's a goddamn horror film of sorts, so I'm going to watch it and then I'm going to feel like crap. Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma is an interesting film starring Gillian Anderson. Gillian Anderson was the star of a film that was released years ago called Camp Miasma. Now, many years and many sequels later, she's back for another installation of Camp Miasma. She teams up with this young director, and either murders occur or they're just reliving murders from older films. I don't understand. Whatever the premise, I think the film looks fantastic. Simply because of how the story is told, how the actors all act, and how the mood of the film is conveyed. That and the fact that we have Gillian Anderson in the film, that's just chef's kiss. A lot of creepypasta stories are being turned into films, and I'm wondering if any of the creators of these stories get any money from these filmmakers. The Third Parent is the latest of the creepypasta stories that have been turned into a film. A strange entity wrapped up in a man's shell walks into the house of this couple and starts turning their lives into hell. I like these kind of horror stories set in one location with the tension rising every minute. Also, the film stars Crispin Glover, who does not seem to age at all. Also, Crispin Glover could possibly make the film sound a lot creepier than it does on paper. So, yeah, I'm going to like Third Parent. An ordinary family having an ordinary day find themselves trapped in their house one day. They can't get out through the doors, they can't get out through the windows, they can't get out. And this goes on for about 1,000 days, which is when things start to go wrong. The Last House is a science fiction film, the trailer for which looks tame, but I really want to watch the film and figure out why the hell they're all trapped inside this house. When a TV unicorn gets annoyed with one of the kids he's playing with, he traps all the kids inside this TV show and starts making their lives hell. And now the kids must figure out how to escape this nightmare. That's pretty much all I know about the film Buddy, this new horror film releasing shortly. But even this description sounds fun. Buddy has an impressive cast. Kristen Milioti, Topher Grace, Keegan-Michael Key, Michael Shannon, Patton Oswalt, Clint Howard. It's a stacked cast and the story sounds great, and I don't see any way this film could fail me. Adriana Ahone, Michael Biehn, and Dan Stevens star in Onslaught, a film that doesn't really look like a horror film, except this film has zombie soldiers, I think. Adriana Ahone is an army sniper with some kind of psychological complication, and she must protect her daughter from zombie soldiers who've suddenly gone rogue and are out killing civilians. I don't know, I saw zombie soldiers and I decided I was going to like the film. It doesn't really take much to get me to watch a film, I guess. The Resident Evil games are a blast to play on the computer. Unfortunately, I haven't played any of the games. I have, however, watched every Mia Jovovich film from the Resident Evil series, and I've loved every one of the films, even though a lot of them were really crap. The new Resident Evil film completely trashes everything the old films did and opts to take a new story route. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, but whatever. A medical courier gets caught in a viral outbreak in Raccoon City and must fight monsters and escape the place. The film is written and directed by Zach Krieger, the man who wrote and directed Weapons. I didn't dislike Weapons, but I didn't particularly love it either. I'm not entirely sure how Zach Krieger's version of Resident Evil will turn out to be, but I'm hoping it'll be a good film, and I'm hoping it'll make me sit down and finally play one of those damn games. When a demilitarized zone is attacked by strange aliens and flying spaceships, the community is thrown into chaos. Hope, a South Korean film, tells the story of how humans take on these giant, overpowered aliens. Most films dealing with giant aliens have rather disappointing endings, pedestrian endings like water killing the aliens. I don't know if that's what we can expect from Hope. And while I expect the end to disappoint, I'm going to go into the film hoping to be surprised. And even if I didn't have that outlook, I watched the trailer and it looks fantastic. It makes me feel like the film is going to be spectacular. So maybe I'll end up enjoying the film. Then again, the film was written and directed by the filmmaker who wrote and directed Wailing. I watched half of Wailing and stopped because it felt too slow. I hope Hope doesn't feel the same. In Victorian Psycho, a rather meek-looking governess arrives at a manor and stuff suddenly begins to go missing, which is a rather tame description of the film when you compare it to the film's trailer, which plays out like a psychotic nightmare. I don't know if it's the heavy metal soundtrack that plays throughout or the visceral visuals that make the film look so extreme, but I love it. The film is based on a book, and I've never decided to read a book as quickly as I have decided to read this book. I think I'm going to have a blast watching this film, although I doubt a lot of people are going to enjoy it. And that's all the horror films coming out over the next few months. Which ones are you looking forward to? Let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.